Welcome back to the Hometown Hustle. Today's guest is none other than Lisa McClease-Kelly, co-owner of Kelly's Automotive. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all, today's guest surprised the heck out of me. This was a person I had heard a lot about in our community, but other than just a few interactions here and there, I didn't actually know much about her at all. But let me tell you, she blew me out of the water with how much passion and inspiration she has. Now, the other interesting thing is that we usually have a questionnaire that goes out before we record, but it didn't happen this time, and so I didn't really have much to go off of, but that turned out to be no hurdle at all because we covered some really powerful stuff in this episode. Lisa is a wealth of knowledge and inspiration, but without spoiling too much for you, this conversation is packed with valuable insight from a veteran business owner who admittedly has made a ton of mistakes, but let me tell you again, through those mistakes, she has learned a ton and shares some of her insight right here in this episode. Check it out. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, very cool. I've got a lot of respect for you. I've known you for quite a while now, but I've just heard a lot of great things about you. Some from this guy, some from other people. I know that you're really good friends with a person that I adore greatly, which is Michelle McQueen.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And so, yeah, I just love her to death. And so I know that you guys are really good friends. So I just really appreciate you being here and doing this. And so for those who don't know you, just introduce yourself, tell us what your business is, just kind of a brief overview of who you are and what you do.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Lisa McClease-Kelly, I am co-owner of Kelly's Automotive Service in Grants Pass in Medford, and I run Networking Action, which is a mastermind networking group in both Grants Pass and Medford.
Yeah, cool. And is that like your big passion right now, the NIA?
It is.
Yeah.
I love small businesses, and helping them thrive is just, it's my jam.
Yeah. What's your role with that right now?
So I'm co-owner. I have a business partner, Julie Niles-Fry, and we run the meetings and help the members connect and grow relationships, and then also the mastermind part. So like I've just written an agenda for this coming month that's based on values, right? Are you running your business on values? Are you living your values through your life? Mm-hmm. So it's fun helping business owners think outside of just the daily thing that they're stuck in, right? So how do we grow as people and business owners overall? Yeah.
Where did your passion for that come about? Like, why helping other business owners? I mean, there's got to be a story behind that. So,
well, I think we made every mistake in the book.
Okay.
Right? I mean, there was 10 years where I worked for free and didn't get paid.
Right.
I want to help other people not do that. Right. So how do you do what you need to do within the business? Also be a wife, husband, father, mother, partner. It's all so important. And if we don't start helping each other, small businesses are not going to thrive. And we are the backbone of this country. Right. And I'm very passionate about making sure that we succeed.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. I told you we should have her on here a lot, and I know you said otherwise, but
I said an hour wasn't enough.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's part of the reason why this podcast even exists. Like, I don't think people know how many cool businesses and cool people that we have in our community.
Right.
And so the idea behind it was to kind of help share those stories, you know? And so hopefully through this, somebody will reach out to you that needs help or, that is looking for a little bit of inspiration and stuff like that. And so that's kind of, the hope with the podcast, at least, is kind of just to help spread these kinds of things, like awesome. You're doing a juice cleanse right now through True Juice and Chris Walker is a friend and we're trying to get him on the podcast. Chris, we're watching you. Okay. So, but we want to get him on here, but that's the kind of thing. I mean, just trying to help those businesses succeed and just get the word out for that and just let people know that there's cool people here in the community. So
absolutely. And there's a lot of stories out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's endless amounts of stories. Yeah, it's fun. So tell us your story. Are you from here in Grants Pass originally, or?
No, I grew up in the California Bay Area.
Okay.
I'm an implant like most people here now, I think.
Yeah, all of us actually, except for him.
Grew up in Alameda, which is a naval city. My family was not in the Navy, but that's where I grew up and We were driving through here on the way to a family reunion in Washington one year, and we just decided to pull over and try and sleep in the rest stop. That didn't work out really well with 3 kids in the back of the car and people not using the actual restroom, but the parking lot and partying and doing other things. So we pulled into town, stayed in the travel lodge, and woke up the next morning and turned the corner and I saw something called a Lubin latte, and I went, what? What town has a Lubin latte? That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then I saw the mountains and we drove around a little bit and I'm like, okay, this is it. Took me 3 years to get my husband here.
Yeah.
But we finally did it.
And did he grow up down there too?
He grew up in Napa.
In Napa? Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah.
And then, so in that time, like, when did Kelly's Automotive come into play?
So we sold our home in the Bay Area in Napa, actually, and moved here and bought a house for a lot less and a lot bigger and had money left over. And that was one of the conditions Dave said, that if we moved, he wanted to open up a business or start a business. And we looked at a lot of different things. And, of course, he's got a background many, many years as a master tech. And he walked into what at the time was the toolbox and just said, hey, do you know any businesses for sale? And the guy said, well, actually, this one's for sale for the right person.
Right.
And we were able to work it out. And that's where we started, was here in Grants Pass.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so what were you doing in Napa before you moved up here then?
I was an advocate for victims of sexual assault.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a big change.
It was, going from nonprofit to, nonprofit for many years.
Right. It's kind of the same, right?
Yeah, no, it was completely different. But that's kind of what I've brought to the business is my heart for the nonprofits. Right. So that's the world I lived in for many years. And it was really hard to go into the capitalism and not still have that. So that's kind of how we've combined the two.
Yeah. So before we get into, you mentioned there was a lot of mistakes that you guys made in the very beginning for like the other business owners and things like that. Like, what were some of those mistakes, and if you were to do it differently, how would you?
Yeah. First thing I would do is get a mentor who's already been in the business or is successful in business, right? I would have joined a networking group earlier. We joined the chamber early on, which was huge for us. But I would have joined a hard networking group earlier. I would have joined a mastermind group earlier. Just there's so many different things that you don't know what you don't know. And that's the problem, is you're an expert in widgets. You're an expert in fixing cars. You're an expert in insurance. You're not an expert in people. You're not an expert in human resources or everything else that it takes to run a business, how to read a spreadsheet, how to read your financials. These are all things that you can't be expected to know. But you need the people that you can trust to help walk you through that. And I think asking for help earlier on is the one thing that I would do differently, for sure.
Well, I don't know if, I didn't have that experience. Like, I fell into Nancy's lap, Venuti, and that was a huge blessing for me. And I can attest for, I'm sure Lawton can speak for himself. I don't need to say it, but he's pretty fortunate with his parents and their business and all that kind of stuff. And you fell into my lap, buddy. No, I'm just kidding. No,
I did indeed.
No, I didn't. No, I think all of us at this table have been very fortunate to have some pretty quality mentors. Not that I'm a mentor to Robin. It's probably more of his wife.
No, I can give you as a mentor.
Well,
absolutely.
At least in the real estate space, we don't need to get into this right now, but I respect you probably more than you respect me. So
that's probably true.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. But what great advice. We were just talking about that with Tiffany, like in the real estate business, you're not required to do any of that kind of stuff. And it's such you can make or break somebody's life with a mistake in a real estate transaction with how much money's at stake sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's no sort of, there's training and you have to get a license and do all that kind of stuff, but it needs to be more. There's just not enough to it. And we were just talking about that with Tiffany, our broker, about how, there needs to be some sort of mentorship or apprenticeship program or something like that before you can.
It seems to be what I hear coming up a lot. Like a lot of people that have become more successful, well, what would you tell the new person? Get a mentor.
Yeah.
Get some help. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
I think a lot of businesses start like you and Dave is, hey, what am I good at? That's what I'm going to go do. And you don't even consider everything else that goes into running a business
Right.
the day to day. And then you just get kind of bogged down in your work and you don't pay attention to those. So we're all lucky in the fact that we had someone, or for me, my parents, come in and we have that mentor already in place and, start off on the right foot. So then how many years were you before you figured out the system?
Well, I think we learned it along the way, right? Like we didn't just have an epiphany one time and go, oh, yeah, we know that we need to get mentors. It's like we were struggling. We weren't making any money. And Dave wanted to sign up. He was getting these DVDs or whatever in the mail, and he wanted to sign up for this marketing thing. And I think he paid $400 or $500 for these DVDs he was watching, and then he wanted to go fly somewhere and go to this marketing thing. And I was like, we don't have any money. I don't think you should go. And he's like, no, I've got to go. We got to do something. So I went with him to sit on his wallet so that he didn't spend any money. So we went, we listened.
Sounds like my wife.
And of course, there was all these people up there telling us different marketing programs, and then you could buy this and you could buy that. And then at the end, they had this big thing where it was like $10,000 to join this program. And I spent all of our money because it was worth it. And it changed our lives and it changed our business.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge investment for us at the time. I mean, I wasn't getting paid. Dave was barely getting paid. We always felt like we were robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? If we took a salary, we felt like we were stealing from the business, and we just spent $10,000. That was huge for us.
Yeah.
Huge emotional investment, just scary as all could be, but it changed our business.
Wow. How many years into, you said you didn't take a paycheck for 10 years almost.
Yeah.
Was that year 5 you paid for the marketing, or 7?
It was probably year 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just went right for it.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we didn't have a choice. We were really struggling. And then because of that group, again, it was mastermind and networking and marketing. We learned what it would be like to scale. So an opportunity came up for another business, and there's no way I would have said yes to that had I not been through this group and been able to talk to other people who'd been in the business and been successful and had more than one shop.
So, and that was the shop in Medford.
That's the
the
shop
second
in
one.
Medford, yeah.
Okay. So it was an existing business and you bought it.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of story on that one. Dave went to go look at some equipment for a guy, and it was actually closer to White City, technically Central Point. And the guy said, hey, I think you should just come in here, open up, and buy this business. And what had happened to his business was he was fighting cancer. He had a manager in there running the business. While the man was in the hospital fighting cancer, the manager stole his business, changed the name, went from, technical automotive to auto tech, moved it across town, and just basically took his business out from underneath him.
Oh,
It's not good.
No, it was not good. And I thought, there's no way we can do this. I don't want to take this on. So I had all these things. I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell him I want 6 months free rent, 6 months no payment. I want this. I had all these things. And he went, okay. And I went, uh-oh. I just got a business that I'm not ready for. So I was the service writer, which I have never written service before. Dave was the technician, and I was his assistant. So, hey, come help me pull this gas tank down. I've got gas in my eye. Just blink.
Oh, no.
It was crazy, but we made it work and eventually moved it to Medford.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Baptism by fire.
It was, yeah.
Or gasoline.
Gasoline in the eyeball.
Yeah. Wow, that's wild. I'm curious, you mentioned values, and I've heard time and time again, I don't know what that was that just came out of my throat. Did you guys hear that?
I thought it was me.
It was you? No,
That was my stomach.
yeah, some bubbles in my, anyway. Let's get back on topic here. No, I want to talk about values, and I've heard time and time again how much your employees enjoy working for you, and how great of care you take care of. How good of care you take care of your employees. That doesn't make any sense, but you understand. Talk to me about your values and kind of where that came about and why that's such an important thing for you.
Well, for me, it's because of God. That's just it. This is God's business, and we need to be good stewards of the people who've been placed in our care. And that's it, right? So our values are stewardship, having a servant's heart, giving back, fun, and respect. And we try and live by those, and we talk about them, and we reward our staff based on those values. So one thing that we do is once a month we have an auction, and we bring in gift cards, and I'll go to Costco and buy a bunch of stuff. Or the guys will, I don't know why, but they want Kelly's branded stuff. It's like, why do you want to, you come to work wearing a uniform with my name on it all day. Why do you want to wear it outside of work? I don't know. But they do. So
these guys wear my T-shirts all the time. So.
The hats.
In the hats.
we have these monthly auctions. We give out Kelly bucks, right? So we've got $5, $10, and $20 in Kelly bucks, and you earn them by exhibiting one of our values, doing a wow, doing a great job, whatever it is. We have daily meetings, and the managers are to talk about who did something good yesterday, right? So every day at the end of the day, Dave and I get a sheet that says the numbers for the day, but also who did something great today, who exhibited one of our values, who did we reward and talk about at the morning meeting, because we want it constantly talked about. When you're doing something that's great for the team, that's great for the business, that's great for the client, we want to reward you. So then at the end of every month, staff brings in their Kelly bucks, and we have an auction, and they buy stuff with the Kelly bucks.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we keep those values front of mind.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I love that.
Thank you.
Should we do Bifano bucks, Robin? What do you think? I don't know what you guys are going to buy. No, we're not doing that.
More hats.
but LeSueur money, I think, would be a good idea.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like it's worth a lot. And so the managers track all of that? That's who keeps...
Yeah, so, pretty much the front office staff usually has somebody that's kind of the banker that hands out the money. In Medford, it's usually Tammy. She's the office manager. And in Grants Pass, it's Jared. He's the shop manager.
I just feel like I'm trying to think of how I would keep track, because there's so many interactions each day. You know, I don't hear every conversation or see it. So do the employees come tell Jared?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So they want their bucks.
They do. Oh, gosh, yes.
Okay.
They'll have contests sometimes, like if you finish a job, go ring the bell, and then you get your Kelly bucks, or something that we're focusing on, if you're wiping windows or doing something, whatever it is that we're focusing on for the month. Oh, yeah, they come up and they get their money.
All right.
Absolutely.
So they're the ones informing. I thought the manager had to watch and make sure and keep score of.
Well, and then they talk about each other. Like we have John in Grants Pass, who is just kind of our cleanup guy, maintenance guy, and people always want to make sure that he's appreciated. And they'll go up to Jared and say, "Hey, John came over and did this for me today. Would you give him some Kelly bucks?" So it's a way for them as a team to talk about and reward each other as well.
Yeah.
Little confirmations.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. I cannot tell you how that excites me so much. I don't even know how we would implement that here. But however, I don't know if I have enough people. It's just Robin and Cheyenne. Anyway, but what a great idea for businesses that are looking to get their employees involved and to get them engaged in the business and care about the customer service and the client care. I mean, all that kind of stuff is just, and I've just heard nothing but great things about your business. When people come in there and they get service from you and they work with you, and it's obvious why is because your employees care so much about all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's really cool.
It's because they have a servant's heart,
Yeah.
right? So we, of course, have to hire technicians for skill, but we've said no to some of the best technicians around because they weren't a good fit, right? They didn't have that servant's heart. It was more about upselling and how much money I can make, and not, am I part of the team? What do I care about? So when I interview someone, I ask questions based on values. The guys ask questions based on, how do you do a brake job? How long does it take? Yeah, all the technical stuff. I ask stuff like, have you ever had to take care of a loved one? Right? What happened there? Who do you hang out with? And what do you do after work? So I want to know who they are, what they care about, and are they going to be a good fit for my team? Because ultimately, I'm responsible for everybody else in that shop. So if they're going home angry and not having a good conversation with their wife or their kids, that's my responsibility. right? So how do I stop any kind of a cancer from coming in there in the first place? It's by not just looking for the technical stuff, but looking for that fit, that heart. And at Kelly's, we want a servant's heart.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Yeah. And right now you're doing the Wipe Out Hunger
Yes.
drive, which is really cool.
Yes.
Never seen so much peanut butter and jelly in my life in one place.
Unfortunately, we're down quite a bit this year, about 50% down.
Oh, really?
So today was supposed to be the last day of Wipe Out Hunger, but we've extended it until March 3rd. The food banks, just here in Josephine County, the food banks are up 15% in the need, which means 1 in 5 people in Josephine County are using the food bank.
Wow.
30% of those are children. So think peanut butter and jelly. They can make peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They can have peanut butter and jelly on a spoon. Kids need that protein to learn at school, and some of them are going to school hungry. And some people, our neighbors who have homes that are middle class, are using the food bank right now because of inflation or because of gas prices or whatever. The last time I saw this happen was in 2008, 2009, when gas prices went crazy. And people were trying to decide whether or not to pay for gas to get to work so they could pay their mortgage or to buy food. So they went to the food bank so that they could buy gas so they could get to work.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not a proponent of people staying on the system, but I'm a huge proponent of giving them that step up. I was a single mom. I worked 3 jobs. I was on WIC. I know what it's like to need that little bit of help. Luckily for me, the housing unit I was in went HUD. I didn't have to go on a list. It just happened. My rent went from like $425 to like $125. You know, this was 30 years ago. I hate to age myself, but I was able to quit 2 jobs, work 1 full-time job, and go to school full-time. So it changed my life. It gave me that little bump that I needed at the time.
Yeah.
And I think we as businesses need to remember to do that for our communities, because if we leave it up to the government, we all know how the government works, right? They're not going to utilize our money well. But if we go to these nonprofits and help them ourselves, then we don't need the government to come in and do it.
Right. Dang.
Are there any other monthly events you do geared towards the same idea, or is this the only one for hunger?
This is really the only one for hunger. We kind of switch things around depending on what's going on throughout the year. I can't even remember all the things that we've done. So we've done things for, Hearts with a Mission, which we're doing in NIA as well now. Just whatever local nonprofit, especially things that our staff is passionate about. Here's a mistake that I made. So I've always kind of decided what we did for nonprofits. It's like, well, I love this organization or I love that organization. I happen to love the Pregnancy Care Center and helping out single moms that are sometimes they're living in their cars or whatever. And we've given away a few cars to them. So I do DISC. Do you guys know what DISC is? Mm-hmm. So I'm a DISC certified facilitator, and I do DISC with my staff. And I was sitting down with one of them and going over his assessment. And it's one of the things that he said was he wants to be associated with a business that does things in the community. I said, well, how are we doing there? Are we doing a good job with that? He says, I love what we do. He goes, but how come I didn't know we were giving away cars to single moms? Because I unilaterally decided that we were going to do it and didn't involve anybody else. So what I did was I took that opportunity away from them as a staff to be involved. Right? So when we don't involve our staff in that portion of it, we're robbing them of an opportunity to be part of something bigger. So how can we as business owners give them that opportunity?
Yeah.
What do they care about? What do they need? What do they want to give back to? Shouldn't just be what we're passionate about. And that's how you continue to keep people, especially for us. So technicians are hard to find. They're hard to keep because the grass is always greener. Somebody's always going to pay them more. I can't afford what the dealership's going to pay them. What's going to make us different? It's because we care about what you care about, hopefully.
Well, we did that in NIA. We all got to pick on the whiteboard. We all picked our different nonprofit we liked, and then we had to all stand up. I think it was like groups of 3, so we had 8 different options, and one spokesperson stood up from each group and had to sell the nonprofit and why we should go that direction. It was actually really cool. And everybody said, I didn't realize this one even existed. And that was just 8. And there were more than that we just narrowed it down to 8.
Yeah.
And we landed on Hearts with a Mission.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then our basket was
the best basket
taken out of this silent auction and made what did they do?
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Did they put it in the live auction?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were there.
I was there. I was at the gala last year. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Or gala, however you say that. Yeah. No, it was, Lawton mentioned that. I remember that now. But yeah, it's pretty cool. We have a similar thing at Remax Integrity where the agents in the office, most of them take a portion of their paycheck and donate it to what's called the Integrity Foundation. Mm-hmm. And then there's a committee, which Rob and I are on, along with, I think, 3 other brokers in the office, right? And then we get submissions all the time for people that are looking for funds and things like that. So we get to kind of decide where those things go, which is pretty fun. So I enjoy giving back. It's pretty good stuff. So
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. So that's neat. So how many Kelly bucks did Batman get for recording the video in the supermarket?
Oh, you mean Wiper Blade Man?
A Wiper Blade Man, yeah.
I don't know. Tammy's probably handing them out to him, but he has way too much fun with that.
Uh-huh.
So what it started out as Tammy's idea. She's our office manager down there. And so she took a plastic bag and tied it around him and said, "You're going to be Wiper Blade Man."
Yeah.
And so they did this thing. Well, he got into it so much that he ordered his own cape. He got his own mask. He's got these little things on his hands with little mini wiper blades on him.
Yeah. And it's a Batman mask, right? I'm not crazy by
it's just a little.
I could have sworn I saw a Batman mask,
I
but
don't
maybe
think so.
I don't
I think
know.
it's just a little
Maybe I just
eye
like
mask.
Batman a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, but Greg's having way too much fun with that.
Yeah.
He gets paid to play.
Yeah, good for him. That's so cool.
When does Wipeout Hunger end? When did you extend it through?
March 3rd.
March
right?
3rd.
Okay.
Yeah. The Hometown Hustle's going to have to make a large donation to the Wipeout Hunger.
I was going to say, if you buy a large amount of peanut butter, I will buy a large amount of jelly.
Why can't I buy the jelly?
Whatever floats your boat. I'll switch. We'll try and make a little dent in the down.
Just remember, 40 ounces or more of peanut butter and 10 ounces or more of jelly.
I'm going to smash that, Lisa.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No, I don't, and I'm not worried about the wipers either. So I do need new wipers, as Robin pointed out on my truck the other day. So
Yeah, he really does.
they're not that bad.
someplace
They
you
were
can
pretty
get 'em.
bad.
Well,
In fact, it brought up the conversation of how
Yeah.
we need to get some peanut butter and jelly so you can get some more wipers. Actually,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Bad enough.
Anyway, bad enough. Yeah. Well, it's been cold recently, and I leave pretty early in the morning to come to the office, and so my windows have been iced over, and so instead of being patient, I'll just turn my heater on and then flick my the windshield wiper fluid and then drag the wipers across the ice. Just not good, because you can totally see that they have pieces missing out of them when they don't. So anyway, kind of stupid. Anyway,
If we didn't know you were from California, we know now.
yeah, we're all from California except for you. You're from Klamath. That's
I'm not from California.
Where are you from?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true. All right, never mind. I take it back. It's just you and I, Lisa.
okay.
Yeah.
You're a neighbor.
I'm from the Monterey Peninsula. Well, I was born in Southern California, but I pretty much grew up on the Monterey Peninsula. So
Beautiful.
Central Coast. Yeah, it is beautiful. But glad I don't live there anymore. So there's too many people there.
Too many people.
Way too many people.
I feel ya.
Sorry for the interruption. Just wanted to remind you that if you're enjoying the podcast, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. It is the best way to support the channel, and without your support, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you, and let's get back to it. So anyway, we've talked about it a little bit. I want to hear more about the NIA and kind of what your goal is with all that, besides the networking and stuff. I mean, you're there to help businesses and help them grow. I mean, what kind of other things are you doing to help businesses that are involved advance and improve?
Yeah. So I want to hear what Lawton has to say about NIA.
Yeah. I think it's great. Well, mostly Lisa and Julie do an amazing job. The people they bring in there are fantastic. And I've never been in another networking group, so I don't have a measuring stick by any means, but I have been to the other ones to just kind of feel them out, and I never did it. But this one just felt different, so I did it, and it's been awesome. It really has been a good move for me. I do the Medford one, so I commute down, and that was intentional. I wanted to get into a different, section of Southern Oregon and start to expand myself a little bit. But it's cool. It's structured. There's no you don't feel guilty about it. It's mostly business owners or higher ups in their companies. So you're meeting the people who make decisions on a large part,
and probably who have a lot of insight and wisdom in those fields and stuff.
Insight and wisdom, and so far I will say that I probably use the services within the group more than gotten anything back per se, but just how I do business anyways, and what I'm looking for, I'm kind of picky, so I don't really blame the situation. I blame me when that happens because I'm picky. But I've loved it. I mean, I wish it's hard with 3 kids and a commute and running a business to get into it all the time, but the commitment's a little bit less. It's one time a month. There's virtual options for a different group you're starting, right? Which, would be good as well. But I think really the difference is that you can tell Lisa and Julie are very passionate about it and care about you and how it's going. And it's fun. A lot of stuff we do is fun. We get to meet at different places. We get to try out different food. Yeah.
I like food.
Yeah, it's nice. It's kind of going on like a little mini field trip lots of times. Where are we going this month? What are we doing? So, yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good description. So we're pretty particular about who we bring into the group, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. Other networking organizations are kind of like fill out your application. As long as you don't have a criminal background, you can come in. Mm-hmm. But we've had people visit, and we've seen that, again, they don't have that right fit.
Right.
So who are you going to bring into the group to make sure that you're taking care of the rest of the members? So that's the first thing is, we're pretty particular about who we bring in, and we let them know. So here's your commitment. Once a month, you need to be there or send a sub. You need to send referrals, and you need to build relationships. You need to do your one-to-ones. We're not going to ask you to run the meeting. You don't have to be in a committee. All those other time commitments that other networking organizations are going to ask of you, you don't have to do it. Julie and I are doing all of that. That's our job. That's what we get paid the big bucks for.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't been paid from that yet either.
The Kelly bucks, yeah.
Yeah, I might as well be paid in Kelly bucks.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity for business owners, like Lawton was saying, to come together and not just network, but they learn from each other. They get to know, like, and trust each other. I'll just give you a couple of examples of what members have said. So at the end of every meeting, I always ask, what's your takeaway? And that's not so that they can say something nice about us. It's so that they remember what they learned today, right? Because that's it. Unless you remember and you implement, it doesn't matter what you did for that last hour and a half. So one person that visited said, you asked me a question I didn't know the answer to. I need to know the answer to that in order to move my business forward. Another one of our members at the end of the meeting said she was in tears. Her aunt was dying. She was having a really hard time, and she hadn't been doing her one-to-one. She hadn't really been participating a whole lot, but coming to the meetings once a month. She said, I could not have gotten through the last 2 months without you. Wow. Because she's become so close to the people in that group that they're no longer just business associates. Some of them are lifelong friends already, right? They're never going to forget each other. They're never going to split up those friendships. They're helping each other get through things in their business that they're being mentors to each other, right? We were talking earlier about getting a mentor. A lot of them are being mentors to each other, and we help facilitate that. So it's about growing. It's about growing your business, about growing personally. Like Lawton said, it's just so much fun. When Julie and I leave there every time, we're like, wow, did you hear what such and such said? Did you see the breakthrough that this person made? Did you hear the referrals that were being passed to these people? It's so much more than networking.
Yeah.
It's another level. It's definitely mastermind. Yes, we want to network, but we want you to grow.
Love that.
It does feel like a family in a lot of ways. You walk in, you're giving everybody hugs. How's it going?
Yeah.
When you do leave at the end of the day, you usually have a takeaway. You learn something. I never have gone out into the parking lot and gotten my vehicle to leave and been like, what was the point of that? It was always like, it was enjoyable. I'm glad I went down and made the 30-minute drive to do it today. It's a lot of fun usually.
Yeah. And for a lot of the business owners, they always say, gosh, I'm always like, I don't have time to do this. I'm not sure if I can, make it today. And, Stephanie, she's our mortgage broker in the Medford group. And she, at the end of every meeting, she goes, I didn't have time to be here. I'm so glad I came. Mm-hmm. Right. Because she learned something. She connected with somebody. It just makes a difference in people's lives and in people's businesses.
Yeah. That's really cool. You're more inspiring than I anticipated you to be. I'm sitting over here just getting like all kinds of like ideas and juices flowing about just things that I want to do, and that it's really exciting. Who inspires you? Where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, gosh, I'm an avid learner. Like, I'm constantly listening to books and watching podcasts, and God's my number one inspiration. My husband, my staff inspire me every day. Just the people around me, You talk about Michelle. Michelle's one of my best friends. And by the way, her name is not Michelle. It's Michelle Mushi Lala Napkin Pants.
Oh, Mushi Lala Napkin Pants.
Yes. So, and now that's on video.
Got it. It's recorded, Michelle.
That's right.
Got you.
Michelle Mushi Lala Napkin Pants.
Mushi Lala Napkin
Yes.
Pants.
So, my friends inspire me. Julie inspires me. Just seeing what people do around to help each other inspires me. So most of my ideas come from problems, right? So if I see a problem and I'm passionate about it, I'll pray about it. And then as he leads, I'll try and do what I can for it. So we talk about Wipe Out Hunger. That was because I was in a meeting with Susan Schufley, who was the executive director at the time, and a couple of other people at the food bank. And they were talking about the rations that they get from the Oregon State Food Bank once a month. And the rations for that month were peanut butter and bubble gum. And they were supposed to feed children with peanut butter and bubble gum. And frankly, I just got pissed and said, that's unacceptable.
Bubble gum doesn't satisfy hunger. You can just chew on something when you're hungry, and guess what? You're still hungry when you're done chewing.
So, we came up with something that will work for kids. And we came up with peanut butter. And then I went back to the shop and said, we had no money. We couldn't buy the peanut butter, right? So what could we do? Well, we talked to our suppliers. We got a deal on wiper blades. And I said, okay, Wipe Out Hunger. There you go. And that's how Wipe Out Hunger came about.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing when we did the cars for the fire victims. So I was at home. The Dove was on. It's a channel that we watch. And people were on there crying and hurting and losing their homes and their animals, and some of their family had died, and I was just in tears. And I just said, God, what do you want me to do? And I very clearly heard 10 cars for 10 families, and you're going to spend $10,000 of your own money. I went, okay. So I called the Salvation Army, and they said, yep, we can run it through the nonprofit here. And then I was driving to Rotary the next morning, and I went, what did I just agree to? What did I just say yes to?
Yeah.
I walked into Rotary and I talked about it. And 3 hours later, Trent Carpenter from Southern Oregon Sanitation called me and said, I have 3 cars for you. Mm-hmm. It was just that simple.
Yeah.
And he ended up giving us 5 cars.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting 20 cars and spending $10,000 on 20 cars.
Yeah. Wow. I love Trent. He turned me down to come on the podcast, by the way.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I'm going to make fun of him tonight, so it's all good.
I'll make fun of him at Rotary on Friday.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sounds like he gave all of his cars to Lisa, so maybe you can make it up.
Yeah. He would have had to walk here. No, I've seen what truck he drives. It's very nice. So,
Trent is one of those people that's hard on the outside, but he has the best heart. He's one of my very favorite people.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love that dude.
That was perfectly said.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Hard on the outside. Well, I mean, maybe not physically, but... Got you, Trent.
He'll never watch this.
Yeah, I know he won't. But,
And he didn't greet me this morning at Rotary. He was the greeter, and he didn't greet me.
on
Turn his
purpose.
back.
It's rude.
Rude. That sounds like Trent. Just
Rude.
Probably did it on purpose.
I know.
I need to go to the Friday Rotary.
You need to go to a Friday?
Yeah, that's the only thing I have left on my red badge. To get a blue badge is to go to another
Yeah.
day.
We have the best
another
club.
That's what I hear.
You're a red badger. The whole time I was going through Rotary, I thought like it was like a red badger, like the animal. And I was like, that's cool. We got red badgers in here.
So like the
I
honey
think we
badger.
need to change the shape of the badge
Yeah.
into a badger now.
It's just a red badge. Yeah.
Marines. You just can never know.
Life's funner in my head.
You mentioned you get books. All of us in here are fairly avid readers. We have a stack of books that I enjoy or have enjoyed over the years. What are you? Give me like 1 to 3 books that you think or can't miss.
I know the top one already.
Okay,
right.
tell them what it is.
Who, not how.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Who, not how.
All right.
So basically, why are you doing the things that you're not good at, that you're not passionate about, when somebody else can do it,
Right.
that they're passionate about? I mean, how many times are we spinning our wheels? It's like, so my business partner in NIA is Julie, and she is great at Excel spreadsheets and all these other things. Well, no.
No,
Not at all.
Yeah.
Paperwork, all that stuff. Like my staff, they know if you want to, good. Thank you. It's nice to have somebody else who is not organized.
Oh no, I'm Julie's side. Yeah.
You're
I'm
Julie's
the spreadsheet organized guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
You're sitting next to the one who's not.
Okay. All right. Somebody's got to be there with me. So my staff knows, don't give me a piece of paper if it's important, right? If it's important, you better email it to me, because odds are I'm going to crinkle it up, stick it in my purse, walk out, do 20 other things. Like, don't do it. And so Julie likes every box checked, and she's got Excel spreadsheets and Google spreadsheets, and you didn't fill this out, and you didn't do this. And I'm like, it's because I have you. Because I don't like that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why
why-
it's a team.
That's right.
That's
And
right.
why would I learn an Excel spreadsheet, which I did try? I took a 2-hour class and I retained absolutely nothing because it's not my thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I am so much better at connecting people, coming up with agendas, finding out how to pull stuff out of you, because I'm also a coach, right? So those are things that I'm good at. I'm not going to try and take a whole bunch of time to learn the things that I'm not good at and I'm not passionate about.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have learned that a lot earlier.
Yeah. I've read Who Not How. Well, I've listened to it, and I need to listen to it again. Because,
Yes.
I mean, I did get a lot from it, but it's been a while since I've read it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I do need to read.
I've listened to it 5 times already.
5 times. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I have a hard time with the self-help books, like the Who Not Hows, and that, like, it's hard for me to get through them. Like my attention span is it's hard to keep. So like I like the books like Jocko Willink about like leadership and stuff like that. I geek out about like the military stuff, and he tells stories in there, and so it's easier for me to get through them when they're like that. So, but what else you got?
So let's see. I'm pulling up some more books here that I listen to all the time. I'd say The Go Giver is one that I absolutely love.
The Go Giver.
The Go Giver.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about giving first without expecting. Right. So, and it's told kind of in a story.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great book.
All right.
One of the ones
I would write it down, but it's recording. So
one of the ones I'm listening to right now is What's in It for Them. And again, it's about giving, and you could give to somebody. Like, not everybody joins our group, right? There'll be someone, like I may say, Daniel, I really want you in NIA, and you decide it's not a good fit for you. How can I help you anyways? Why do you have to be a part of my group? You don't, right? So how can you help people? What's in it for them before you expect them to give anything back to you?
yeah, I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
All right. You got any more?
I have hundreds on here, but I don't have my glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Everyone communicates, few connect.
Okay.
That's a great one.
Everyone communicates, few connect.
Few connect. Again, we communicate with each other, we network with each other, but are we actually connecting? Are we having what I like to call transformational relationships, right? So we can't have that transformational relationship. We can't truly be there for each other until we connect. We can talk, we can network, we can talk about the weather, but let's get down to it.
Yeah. Is it possible for everybody to connect?
Yes, but not with everybody else, right? So I may not be a good person to connect with Lawton. I am.
Got it.
I think we are.
Yeah.
But
He's awesome.
I might be great to connect with Robin, right? So who are the people that you want to connect with, and how can you turn those into transformational relationships where you are sending referrals to each other? This is your person. This is somebody that you can call, that you can rely on, right? That's what we're trying to create in Network in Action, is not just connections, transformational relationships. How can we take this to the deepest level possible?
What about those people that you don't connect with or have a hard time connecting with?
Yeah, there's a a lady, I just heard this book the other day, and I can't remember the name of it, something about the 6 conversations. Basically, how can you have a conversation with somebody that it's not easy to connect with? So when I think about it, I think about DISC for one. So if I'm connecting with somebody who's a high C, and I'm a DIS in that order, right? So it's hard for me to connect with a high C because they're going to want to get down to brass tacks and talk about Excel spreadsheets and numbers, and my eyes are going to roll in the back of my head. So where are the values? How can I start asking value questions? Because even the C's have values, right? And one of their values might be perfection or respect. So how can I start asking questions about that to connect with them? So I'd like to think that I could connect with just about anybody, but there's people that I'm sure that don't like me.
Right.
Right.
Can't imagine anybody not like Lisa. No, but I understand what you're saying. It's just hard to. We talked about DISC profiles with one of the AEI group. I don't know if you know them or not, but they use them when they're like working with their clients and stuff like that. So no, the reason why I'm asking is because there's like I have relationships with people and like vendors and people that do business here in town, and I refer business to just because I have a good connection with those people. But I'm curious about all the other people. Like if you don't have a good connection with somebody, you're not going to refer them business, right? I mean, or how does that?
Yeah. You have to know, like, and trust them. That like is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So finding out a little bit, try and ask some of those value questions. Find out what's important to them. Odds are there'll be something there that you can connect with them about.
Yeah. What's my DISC?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure I know you well enough. Well, if you love all that other stuff, then you have C in there for sure.
Not as much as you'd think, though.
But I think you have a lot of I in there, and then a little bit of D.
Yeah. It's a DI, actually.
Yeah.
DIC. It spells dick.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm a DICS. There's very little S in there whatsoever. And then what do they call it? The adaptive style that like when you stress out and things like that.
Yeah.
My I goes way down and my C jumps way up. So, and that's when I go and like start cleaning and organizing and trying to get my life back in order.
Yeah.
So,
I can see that. Next time you're that way, come clean my tools out of my cabinet. Come organize them for me.
That's a lost cause.
Wouldn't take long.
Lawton and I spend a lot of time together, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have my cabinet in my garage, and when you open it, the tools are just like I know where they are, right? They're my tools. I just put it in there. He opened it up and about had an aneurysm. It's like if I saw this, I'd pull it all out and organize it.
Yeah.
Depends on what mood I'm in. It depends on what mood I'm in. I won't just like
That's
do
what
that.
I'm saying. Next time you're there, come over and clean it for me.
Yeah, I'm not Tony Venuti. I can't just do that at a drop of a hat. So, yeah, Tony's the king C for sure. Anyway, no, the DISC profiles are a lot of fun, and I know that a lot of people use them to kind of like analyze their clients and figure out ways to like earn business and things like that. I've never really put a whole lot of thought into it.
Right.
But
yeah. So if you're selling a house to a high C,
right,
what do you need to get to them, right?
Yeah.
Odds are they've already Googled everything about the house.
Right.
They've already kind of thought about all the financials. So what is it? How do you need to present to them as opposed to how you're presenting to a D who just wants to know that you've done your homework and that you're going to get him what he needs.
Yeah. So like one of the things that Nancy taught us, because she was pretty big on the DISC profiles too, is that like if you're working with a D, like when you do a market evaluation, like don't go over all the statistics that are in the market evaluation. Just get to the point, because they're just going to want to know the number.
Yeah.
Right. But the C's, like you're saying, they're going to want to know all the details. And then when you're going over the market evaluation with an S, you're going to want to make sure that you talk about how important their house is to them and all those like feelings type of things.
Safety is very important.
Right.
Processing, they need time to process.
Right. You're not going to push on them too hard. You're just going to back off and kind of just let them do their thing. And with the I's, you want to tell them how great they are,
and connect with them, like Michelle Mushilala Napkin Pants, right? She's a high I.
Yeah.
And she's great at connecting with people.
Yeah. She's excellent at connecting people. We were going to start a hamster farm one day.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. As you know, she's one of your best friends, but like conversations with Michelle are an absolute riot. Like you could start like a 30-second conversation and it could turn into an hour.
Yes.
Like she is just, she's hysterical, and it just
totally hysterical.
Yeah. And she just has the biggest imagination too. So it's just, you can just like go on and on and on with her. And we literally had like an hour-long conversation when we were touring. It was like when I first got started in real estate, we went to go out to this farm off of Jump Off Joe Creek. It was a horse farm, but we just like randomly, like, I was like, I wonder how many like hamsters you could have in this like corral or something like that. And typical Michelle, like I was just messing around, you know, and she just went with it. And like, we had this thing for years of like how we could, like, anytime we visit a farm or we'd like see something, we'd be, hey, did you see that place? That'd be a great hamster. Like, and it was just, and it was like, we'd laugh about it, but it was always, but the conversation, like we just got like into it and like we started talking seriously about how we could do it. And of course it was super sarcastic, but it's just, I love her to death. She is just one of my favorite people. Yeah. Yeah. She's so cool. I miss her.
She is cool.
Yeah. So anyway, Michelle, if you're paying attention, I'll probably just cut a clip from it and send it to her. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah,
Michelle Mushi Lala Napkin Pants.
Yes.
Hamster farmer extraordinaire.
That's right. Hamster farmer.
So anybody out there looking for a property that their hamsters can be raised on, call Michelle.
Michelle Mushi Lala Napkin Pants. Yeah. Don't call me. I'm not. I don't have enough napkins in my pants. So anyway.
Or hamsters.
Or hamsters. Well,
no, the napkins.
I didn't say that.
Napkins were on the pants. That's how the conversation came up.
Yeah.
Yes,
how did this name come about? I need to know.
So it was my birthday dinner, and Michelle was there, and Tammy was there, and a lot of people were there. And Dave was like rubbing his hands on his pants. I'm like, why? You don't have a napkin on your pants? And she's like, no, he's got napkin pants. And then we started talking about all different kind of pants, like to dry your car. It was chamois pants.
Yeah.
The conversation just went really downhill. I was not drinking. I don't drink. I think other people were, and it just got a little silly.
Yeah.
But yes, she was always Michelle Mushi Lala. And then after that, about 2 years ago, we added in the napkin pants.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. I wonder if she wants the world to know.
Well, she's going to have it now.
Too bad.
So. I love you, Michelle.
The world.
Yeah, all 150 followers of my podcast. It's actually up to 198 now, subscribers on YouTube. So,
Woohoo.
yeah, it's grown quite a bit in the last month or two.
Probably bots.
Nope.
No.
Completely organic.
Yeah. So tell these guys about your Tennessee adventures.
Tennessee adventures. So we own some homes in Tennessee.
Yeah?
Yeah. So we have 2 in the city of Jonesboro, Tennessee. It's the first city ever established in the state of Tennessee.
Wow.
It is adorable. It looks like a Hallmark card.
Wow.
And they have chocolate festivals and dog parades. And it's just this magical little city that we fell in love with. So we have one there with a partner, actually Tina Gotchel.
Okay.
You guys know her. And then another that my husband and I own. And then we sold our house in Tahoe and bought a few more in Tennessee as well. So one in Dandridge, Tennessee, and one in Sevierville. And then we have another one in Chattanooga.
Wow. Are they rentals or Airbnbs or?
One is a long-term rental across the street from 2 teaching hospitals.
Okay.
So we have a temporary COO that's been in there for 1.5 years.
Wow.
And then one is midterm. Actually, 2 are midterm for traveling nurses. And then one is short-term.
Nice.
2 are short-term.
Very cool. Yeah, my brother used to live in Murfreesboro.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And they both used to live in Nashville, and then he lived in Murfreesboro, or however you say that. Yep. But yeah, no, I've heard it's amazing. I've never been to Tennessee, but I know a lot of people that have moved there. Like I've heard of a lot of people moving there. And
that's why we bought there.
Yeah.
Because the number one place for the one way of moving vans was Tennessee
in
is that 2022. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, people like Tennessee. So
how is it being an absentee property owner?
Well, I was already absentee for Tahoe when we had the Tahoe house, so I'm pretty used to it. It can be scary sometimes if an emergency happens and you don't have boots on the ground, but we're really blessed. We have a lady there named Angela who, she started out as my cleaner, and she's turned out to be also my little handyman too, because she's just so good at, if Dave's not there, I'm like, can you fix this? Yep, I know how to take it apart and fix it. And then I've just established relationships in each town where I've gone and find people that I can rely on. So refrigerator repair, HVAC, electricians, plumbers, you have to develop those relationships.
Property manager as well? Or
no? Okay. I manage the properties. Yeah.
Wow. Good for you. That's cool.
Yeah,
do you have any aspirations to buy anything anywhere else?
Yeah. So I'm thinking probably Virginia. I'd like to take a look at. Arkansas is my next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sarah Sanders being in there is going to have a lot of political refugees going there. So that's kind of what I look for, is where is everybody going?
Yeah. I know a fantastic real estate broker in Fayetteville. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. Yeah. He's an instructor with this organization I'm involved with. But
Okay.
yeah. And my sister-in-law is also investing in property back east. She has property in Arkansas, and then she also has property that she's looking at in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, the market is good over there for investors. It's not so much here, but
No. It's really hard to make ends meet here.
it is. Nothing hardly pencils at all. So yeah. Did a couple years ago, like my rental is fantastic. Like we bought a house in 15. We bought it for $113,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My mortgage on it is like $450.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it rents for what, almost $1,300 or something like that. It's just
Oh my
like, it's a
goodness.
major cash cow. It's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't have any other ones. So which is not good. I need more. So
Yeah, we have a duplex here that we bought 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it does okay.
I bet it does. Yeah. My sister-in-law also has a duplex here and it does great. So one side of the duplex pays for the mortgage on it. And so she's just collecting cash. It's just pretty cool. Real estate investing is the bee's knees. So
It is, but I look at it a little bit differently. So like we haven't taken any money out of the duplex because we're saving in case the roof goes,
right.
right? The heat pumps are old. Those are going to go.
Right.
As soon as my 97-year-old passes away, I'm going to have to replace the floors and all of the appliances and all that other stuff. So yes, it's nice to have that money sitting in the bank, but we're not taking any of it because I don't want to have it come back out of my pocket again.
Yeah, well, that's a smart thing to do. Like a lot of people just collect the cash. Like we haven't, what my wife and I decided to do on our rental was to get to a cap, like get to like a certain dollar amount by just like putting away the cash flow that comes from it. And then we've started taking stuff from it now, but we don't take anything from it and put it in our own bank account. We just double pay on the mortgage.
Right.
So we just keep putting it towards paying it off earlier. So that way, when you know the reason why.
Yeah.
So, and then my sister-in-law is the same thing. She's not collecting any cash on it. Like she still has a really good income that she doesn't need any of that stuff for. So
Right.
it's just getting socked away. And then I think she does kind of the same thing where she gets to a certain point and then she'll pull that money and use it as a down payment for something else.
Right.
So, but it's beautiful when it's done the right way, you know? So it's really cool. So
How did you get into real estate? Figure it out on your own, mentor?
Well, I started watching a podcast called Bigger Pockets, and that kind of got me into it. And then Tina found this duplex and said, we have to buy it. And I said, okay. So we did. And that's kind of how we got into it. And then just watching Bigger Pockets. And then, we had the duplex for, I think, 3 years before we bought our next one. And then it's kind of like you just get it's like getting a tattoo. You just can't have just one, right? I don't have any, but
me neither, actually.
that's what I hear. Is you can't have just one.
Yeah, I don't know if is that true?
I actually have just one, but my wife wants to get one, so my days are numbered.
Yeah.
The two of you getting a shared one?
Like the same one, or we're just going to share one?
Like the same one, like you both, like you get Tara's name on your
Daniel,
on your
you
lower
really
back
think
or
I
something.
thought out far enough.
That's true. All right, never mind.
You can be like Ben Affleck and J-Lo and get matching tattoos.
Yeah, we'll just get to there and just throw the book open. This one.
Sounds like something new. That's like how you shop in the supermarket.
I'm getting a parakeet with an patch on its eye.
Is that right?
That's what I'm getting.
Good grief,
Not
dude.
a parrot. Yeah,
Cool.
Pirate.
A pirate?
Yeah.
A parrot with
But
a patch?
anyways, I wanted to learn. I want people to know about passive income,
Yeah.
and I just don't think it gets talked about enough. And rentals are a great way to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure that you know what you're doing before you go into it. So you might cash flow $100, right? But if you're ready to make it a long-term investment, then kind of look at it that way. So like I said, I'm not taking any money out because I don't think I'm safety girl. So I like to make sure I have enough money in the bank for just about everything. And you're going to have 5% in vacancy. You're going to have 5% in increase in costs. You're going to have 5% of this and 5% of that. So I make sure all of that is covered. and I'm never going to not be able to make my house payment. That's all in the bank. So if a war was to start tomorrow, I've got 6 months worth of house payments, right? I don't have to worry about it on any of our properties. I don't take any money out right now. We just keep building, and then eventually, yes, we'll take it out and start buying down that loan.
Right. Yeah. No, it's for those who don't know, Bigger Pockets is like the real estate podcast and they have different topics on all kinds of stuff that multifamily, all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's just an endless supply of information out there for Bigger Pockets, but to get into real estate investing, it's super important to do your research because obviously it can burn you really bad if you don't do it right. And then finding a good real estate broker that understands it all. I mean, it's not just cash flow, right? I mean, there's
tax breaks,
right? There's so much to it.
Yeah.
And that's the real estate broker that I'm talking about. His name is Dale Carlton, and he's in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and he teaches the income properties class for the Residential Real Estate Council all over the country. And so, he's like one of the world's. You've taken this class. Yeah, so we had Dale come to Medford, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and he taught the class. And how good is that class?
It was before COVID.
Yeah, it was way before COVID. Yeah, but it's
it's a great class.
And this is a class on real estate brokers. And Lawton came with his dad and his brother because his dad is an avid real estate investor, and so they came and they probably knew a lot of the stuff that Dale was teaching already, thanks to Lance. But it's just great information. I'm sending him to go see it. See Dale. He's coming to Eugene at the end of March. So I'm going to send Lasky up there. I tried to get him to go into Bend last year for another guy named Chris Bird that teaches on the same thing and tax strategies, but he couldn't make it. He had family stuff going on. But it's a topic you definitely need to learn if you're you need to study it if you want to be good at it, and it'll change your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's your retirement. That's our retirement, right? That and selling the business someday, maybe.
Right.
Or just having Jared run it for us forever.
Yeah.
Who, not how.
That's right.
Jared.
Jared, I keep telling you.
Just go to Jared.
You're my who.
Yeah.
For jewelry and for automotive. Kelly's automotive and jewelry shop. Just like the lattes and lubes.
Lube and latte.
Lubes. Yeah. Did you know that you can lube with a latte? Did you know that?
We actually had somebody get married at Kelly's Automotive Service, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have them both up on the rack and then get married?
Have it lift up as they're like saying their vows.
Yeah.
Like how cool.
So one of our service advisors in Medford shop is a pastor as well. So people
That's
actually come in and get married in the shop.
That's amazing.
Employees or just
just
really?
friends. Yeah, they're like, we don't have time to go do something somewhere else. We don't want something big. Can you do this? He's like, I'm working. Okay. Can you take a half-hour break?
Oh, it wasn't like a ceremony. It was like
no, they just come in and literally get married twice.
Twice. Fun fact about Kelly's Automotive is it's also
They can get you married,
It
too.
can get you married there also.
You don't even have to get out of your car.
Yeah, you don't have to get out of your car.
It's kind of hard to exchange rings. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. As we wrap this up, because we're coming up on an hour here, we're actually a little over an hour.
Wow.
What is, even for like your friends and family, what is one thing that people don't know about you?
Oh gosh.
Yep. Fun fact.
My friends and family, they know everything about me.
All right. Well,
I would say probably to most people, they don't know that I'm an absolute goofball.
Well, if you hang out with Michelle, then you're absolutely a goofball. So I kind of knew that already. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. My children rolled their eyes at me. They're like, Mom, you're not that funny. I said, but I'm funny to me.
Yeah.
I think I'm funny.
Well, you're laughing at Lawton and I's stupid banter. So you've definitely got the goofball gene in you somewhere. So anyway.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, you have anything else to say?
No, I think we should all get in on the hamster farm whenever that happens.
The hamster farm.
Little
all
tiny
right.
cowboy hats.
Michelle, Mushi Lala, napkin
Napkin
pants. We need to start looking into this hamster farm. I got a serious investor here.
Mm-hmm.
Can't promise Lasky wants to get invested in the hamster farm. So
he kind of looks more like a hamster apparel kind of guy. You saw like the saddles and the tack.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the saddles.
That could be your next tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hamster.
My wife breeds
Neck tattoo.
a hamster neck tattoo. Good job, dude. My wife breeds silky chickens, so that's I don't know. I think that's pretty close. But she's with the egg shortage and stuff, and the chick shortage that we have right now. Like I heard that at the Grange they have chicks come in on like Thursday or Friday afternoons or something, or mornings or something like that. They had people lined up out the door waiting for chickens because of the cost
like
of
toilet
eggs and all
paper,
that. Yeah, like toilet
but
paper.
chickens.
Yeah. My wife sold 3 baby chicks the other day for $75.
What?
Yep. And she has a bunch more that are like in the brooder that are like getting ready to go. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna buy property in Tennessee.
Oh, hey, let's go there on a business trip.
On a business trip.
Actually, you could write it off because you're a real estate professional.
That's true.
I cannot.
Of course, you are.
Yes, I can because I have.
You have property there.
Property there.
Yeah, you
That's
can.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, but in Tennessee, they may actually take chickens as payment for property.
They might.
They might.
Everybody there calls me Miss Lisa.
Miss Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really
And
funny.
ma'am.
Ma'am? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mary Parsagian, who works in our office, her daughter lives in Tennessee, too. I think they live in Nashville. Is that right? Or somewhere out there? Somewhere? Anyway.
One of my tenants, he was a short-term tenant with he and his wife, traveling nurses. And he sends me stuff all the time since they've moved out. And he says, I caught myself a big deer today, and I did this, and then I cooked up some squirrel. And I said, remind me to never come over for dinner unless I ask first what's on the menu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do some pretty neat things out there in Tennessee.
Neat. That's a good word for it.
Little tiny gray squirrel legs. Nibble on.
Oh, thank you.
Delicious.
I said, how'd your wife like it? He said she really liked it, but it was really hard to get the meat off the bones because it was just so tiny.
Good God. Hillbillies. All right, Lisa, this has been really fun. I really appreciate you. Super inspiring. We'll have some peanut butter and jelly coming your way here pretty soon. So, yeah, Lotto, Robin, and I will take care of it. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else, boys?
Nope. Appreciate you.
All right.
Appreciate you.
It's fun learning about your history, and like I find it fascinating when people start with, in a deficit basically, and then excel and do well in life. So it's very unique. I got mommy and daddy's business, and I talk about with Daniel a lot, and I try not to let that define who I am or take it for granted and run it into the ground and that kind of thing. I want to be better, but it's impressive that you could do that.
Well,
with,
thank
no
you.
guidance and no one handing you anything. So
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's it. It's a wrap.